Hey, what's up, everybody? This is welcome to the UN. How y'all doing? Well, my normal compatriot is busy today. Someone else is supposed to come, so no, I guess I'll just chit chat until that happens. I am testing out new stuff. See how it goes. I am actually attempting to make this into an actual show. So what I'm probably gonna do is while I'm waiting. Let's see. Right. Looked up a couple of stuff thing to talk about. I was kind of hoping that I had someone to talk about this with, but all right. Let's see. All right. Share this. All right. Hold on. Let me share this particular tab. All right. Let me put that over there. And one man show. All right. Okay. I heard about this a while back. Oh, there's this comic book called Invincible, and the co-creator, I guess Robert Kirkman, uh, he was discussing the race swapping in the actual, like they turned this comic book into a like a cartoon. So this right here is Mark is the main character's first girlfriend that you meet. As you can see, she is black, but in the comic book, she's a white girl. So according to this title, it's like, all right, so Invincible co-creator Robert Kirkman stands for race swapping in Amazon's animated adaptation. We have to recognize a couple of dumb white guys made this comic book in the early 2000s, which to me is kind of dumb because you should be able to, if you made a comic book and someone wants to pay you money to put your comic book on TV, you should stay true to your comic book of what you wrote because that's what you wrote. I'm not exactly sure how this helps. Like, I guess he thinks that this is gonna help minorities or something. I don't know. So, all right. According to the series co-creator Robert Kirkman, decision to race swap a number of core characters in Amazon's as I said, Invincible was born out of his personal belief that he and artist Ryan Otley failed to make the original comic book sufficiently diverse, particularly by modern standards. What does that mean? So, say I created a comic book, right? And I decided to make like it all black people, right? So does that mean that I'm being diverse by modern standards? That I'm not being diverse, so therefore I need to race change some of my characters, or does this only work one way? Because it seems to only work one way, right? So I guess he is trying to virtue signal or something. I don't know. It's, this stuff is irks the shit out of me. Sorry for cursing. It just really bugs me. But a lot of people who saw this didn't really like the fact that they did this, and the character was kind of a pain in the butt. So, like I didn't really watch it, but I did read the comic book. I don't know if they changed any of the Virtue Mites, which is basically his race, because most of them are all white, right? So this is what she looked like in the comic book. She's a blonde white lady, right? So, as can be confirmed by audiences who engaged in both iterations of the hero story. A total of 3 members of the cast were subject to Hollywood's favorite method of virtual signaling. First and most apparently was Amber Bennett, first love interest in the series, protagonist. All right. So they changed her. However, in animated series, inverted character now even here with black skin. Not only that, but in the movie, completely counter to their supposed intention of endearing this more diverse version of the character to audiences. Yeah, they made her a kind of a pain in the butt. So they made her a not really that likable character. Right. So rather than Amber, who was always fearful of her safety, was always understanding of her one-time boyfriend superhero's lifestyle. The Amazon presented the audience with a version of the character who took outright offense to the fact that Invincible did not reveal a secret to her just after a few weeks of dating. Yeah, which is kind of dumb and kind of stalkery. But blah, 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 blah. So who else did they change? Yeah, because I didn't really like. Okay, how shows about us. Da, 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 da. Okay, so I guess to protect Mark was had it changed, and Debbie had their identities altered to when in the lead to the small screen, where their comic book cells are both white, half white, half Voltramite. In Mark's case, uh, their incarnations have been epically confirmed as being Korean. What? Okay. All right. Well, if you don't know the story of this, if this is his mom, his dad basically viewed her as like a pet because the whole purpose of their species was to go out and conquer planets, and he didn't see her no different than a dog. And in the end, he had love for her, but he really didn't like. Yeah, it was kind of a messed up story. So I don't know how making her Asian. I don't really get how this actually benefits anybody. So, all right. So, speaking to the TV guide ahead of the Amazon series' upcoming second season, Kirkman revealed that despite the backlash that the changes have received, much of it born from fans disappointed in the series' first foray into a new medium, a new medium with less than accurate to the characters and stories they loved for nearly 2 decades. They believed the result was a net positive for the what? How? It's like if your point was to, I guess, make people see themselves. I really don't understand the point of doing this kind of stuff because to me it's kind of dumb, you know. But because all you really do is you piss off your customer base because they're gonna watch it because they love the initial product, and you're changing the product and then getting mad at the people who like the product as it was because they don't like the new product. And then this is the thing that Hollywood keeps doing over and over again, which to me is kind of it's like I don't really understand this, but that's what they do. So I guess they're gonna how much of this concept representation was on your mind when you were working on season two. That's something that's been really important to us. Oh, here it is. We have to like I don't know. I do not understand guilty white people. It really makes no sense to me. We have to recognize that a couple of dumb white guys made this comic book. Which why is that a problem? He said it like that's an actual problem. Um, Book in the early 2000s. Again, it's so I don't like so what? Just kind of and there's a real lack of diversity in that series. Um, I'm trying to remember where it takes place, like in terms of the town or city that the character is from, because there are plenty of towns in the Midwest, in the middle of the country, where there is no diversity because it's just no diversity. It's just like no minorities really live there. So it's like I don't really understand why. Okay, like I really understand this. Okay. Also, with the Invincible character himself, we talked to fans along conventions and places we were going because his ethnicity was so ambiguous in the comics. Everyone identified with him. We would have the Filipino fans come up and say, "I'm so excited that you made Mark Filipino." and we would have Mexican fans come up and say that next. Okay, so it sounds like you didn't even achieve what it was that you were trying to achieve because you made the character so ambiguous that who's it supposed to be representing? I'm like, okay, they interpreted this as what they interpreted it, but I don't really understand what the purpose of doing this was. So, okay, it's amazing to see important representation is on a personal level when you're face to face with a person. I'm quite sure most of the people that he talked to didn't really care. So he's cherry picking the people. I don't know. This is a fairly popular comic book, so he probably had plenty of people come up to him to talk to him, and he's only remembering the handful of people who probably said that, if anybody said that. So I watch a bunch of tough guys, or tough white guys, do cool stuff. I was like, this is a lot of fun, and you end up being in this bubble where you have no awareness of what it's like to live in a world where you're not seeing yourself reflecting and all those other things. Okay, what? Nobody he knows has ever seen any other person besides white people doing fun stuff. I'm like, I find that hard to believe. So this is a virtual signal. It's a kind of a dumb one, to be honest. So to be able to, in a small part, work against that is a tremendous honor. Again, I don't get he has black characters in his comic book. I don't really understand why he needed to change the characters that he did, even though he has characters in his comic book that are not white. So that's really dumb. So I don't understand this stuff, but I guess it is what it is. So, all right. The thing that I wanted to, hmm, uh, I guess if I created something, I would want to put it out there for everyone to see, or its original vision, like what it originally was. And I wouldn't really be that interested in like other people trying to force me to change it. Because my response to them would basically be, if you want to see that, then why don't you just make it yourself? You can make whatever you kind of book you want, and it'll be whatever you want. You know, it's just one of those things. All right. So it's again, I'm trying to get used to doing a live stream by myself. I usually do this kind of stuff where it feels like you're talking to yourself, because I guess I kind of am. So yeah. All right. Oh, I wanted to watch. Back to this. The Continental do a little channel thing. All right, let's look this up. Kind of supposed to have someone come is supposed to join me, but they're not here yet. So I'm kind of floundering a little bit. So what I'm going to do earlier is one of the things that I was trying to do. What the? All right. All right. Share a screen. All right. So I saw this the other day, and I thought I would react to it. I love the John Wick movies. The first two are really good. The the third the third one was okay, and the fourth one was okay. So hopefully this is good, and I think this is like a. It's not necessarily it's gonna be on TV, but it's not necessarily a TV movie. Well, a TV. I think it's a TV movie. I'm not exactly sure, but it's coming on Peacock. All right, so let's check it out.
A suit doesn't make a man. It's what's inside the suit that counts. It's resourcefulness and perhaps an open heart.
Well, what are you waiting for?
I haven't finished my drink.
This sacred institution wields power beyond your imagination. Winston, your brother stole something from me. What he took is very important to a lot of very dangerous people. Find him, because if you don't, I'll bring the weight of this whole institution down on you both. Sharon, show our guests the door.
Ooh, like that
You made a
car.
big mistake coming here.
You're my brother, Frankie. We have to strike first. And I need all the help I can get.
How are we supposed to believe a guy in an ascot can pull this off?
It's a cravat.
If we're gonna take on the Continental, every freak in that hotel will be after us.
Well, that's lovely.
We need guns. Lots of guns. This is more than vengeance. This is justice.
All right.
Can you dig it?
Let's take this house and everything that comes with it. And away we go.
All right. That is fairly cool. Well, the one thing that I hope that doesn't happen is we get a whole bunch of girl boss stuff. It kind of looked like that in the trailer, but I don't know. I'll be glad when they figure out that most of us don't like this stuff. Don't mind female action heroes. That's fine. It's the 5'2", 90-pound person kicking the crap out of. I'm 6'3", and I know that there's not very many women who could like kick me and move me backwards. So it comes across as very, very, very like ridiculously unrealistic. So I don't know. All right. Let's see. Well, I mean, like I had a whole stuff that I kind of wanted to talk about. All right, one of these. Let's see. I don't know. A lot of people aren't that interested in Marvel, but okay. Let's share this screen. All right. All right. We got 6 movies coming out. They say in 2024, but with this like strike that's coming up, I seriously Deadpool is not finished, but I think Venom is, and I know this one is. Like they've already been trailered for that, so I know that's coming out. I'm not too sure about Captain Falcon here, of whether or not he's coming out. But let's see. Live action. So far, it's Marvel in the last 2 years or so has kind of been terrible. Like they're not telling good stories and they're pushing characters I don't really care about. So, like I said, Back in 2018, Marvel Studios debuted 3 new movies. Fox released Deadpool, and Sony launched its new universe with Venom, along with dropping the animated Into the Spider-Verse. So the second one, it was good right up into the ending. The ending was ridiculous. It's like people in the actual audience was like, "What the hell?" I think I went with my godson. He's like what? You know. So all right. So here's a record-breaking list. Oh, okay. So this is going to be in 1 year. So maybe that's what they mean by record-breaking. Because I seriously doubt too many of these movies are going to make that much money. So Madam Web. All right. So see the old lady in the back. That's Madam Web. She's old, and she's kind of a ancillary character in Spider-Man's universe. It's like you see every now and then, that kind of thing. But yeah, she's not big enough where most people will probably ever heard of her. Like if you're a Spider-Man fan, yes. But if you're not, probably not. So she's being played by a much younger person. Let's see. The next movie in Spider-Man's universe is Madam Web. Will introduce new female heroes played by Dakota Fanning, Sydney Sweeney, and more. So this is going to be a girl boss Spider-Man movie. All right. Also be plenty of connections to the new wall crawler himself. In this one, reportedly debuting Adam Scott as Uncle Ben, and it involving a baby Peter Parker. All right. Madam Web may have wrapped filming, so I guess they filmed it, and be well into post-production, but the recent shift to long finished Craven the Hunter has proven anything can happen. As of now, the Dakota Johnson movie appears likely to make its planned release date as long as no reshoots are required. And given that there is a writers and actors strike, there is no reshoots are going to be done like right now. So if they're gonna put it out next year, because I guess they can do. Because I think they were saying one of these movies, one of these Marvel movies, they were doing reshoots like right up into the last minute. So I guess possible, but I can't imagine what this movie is gonna be about. Yeah, they say female heroes, but who? Okay, I don't know. Deadpool 3 that started filming. They got Hugh Jackman, and it looks like it's a multiverse thing. They're doing a multiverse thing, but it's gonna be with a Deadpool flavor. So it's like, all right. I've heard all kind of rumors of people from pretty much every Marvel movie that has been filmed in the last 20 years is gonna have a cameo in this movie. From Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, which should be interesting. I wonder how they're gonna do. I'm a little curious as to what Ryan Reynolds' take on the multiverse is. Should be funny. The last ones were pretty funny. So okay. On Wilson and okay, so that Loki show set to play into the story. Okay, well, I don't know how many people actually watched that. Began production, and shortly after the writer's strike, and just weeks later, they moved up from November to May. Filming was halted. But a report has claimed that it could only afford to halt around a month before release delay will be needed. Yeah, so I guess it's probably not going to come out next year. I can, unless these movies are actually done. I think all the ones that aren't done I can't imagine them coming out next year. So Venom 3. All right. Okay. So you got the writer going to be the director, and that kind of doesn't really work that well. Chiwetel Ejiofor. He's a pretty good actor. So I wonder what he's gonna play. Okay, Jermaine Clement. All right. So this one only started filming. So that means that it's probably not coming out next year. All right. So we got Captain America 4 or Captain Falcon. I wish they would have just made a Falcon movie instead of trying to shoehorn him into Captain America. That didn't really work out too well in the comic books, and I really doubt it's going to work that well in this because Captain America is Steve Rogers. Anybody else who's wearing this outfit is just wearing the outfit. It's like Batman. Batman is Bruce Wayne. Like I don't care who they shove into to his outfit or how popular the person was. I like Nightwing, but it was just Nightwing dressed as Batman. All right. After the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that movie that I got 2 episodes into that thing, and I couldn't do it because basically when the Falcon couldn't get a loan in the bank, I was like, really? Because essentially his character would have been so famous, it would have been ridiculous. And I can't imagine there's a bank in the world who wouldn't want to put on their paperwork and all the advertisements that one of the Avengers uses their bank. I don't care what he asked for. It's like, so that was ridiculous that happened. And then what really did it for me was when he and Bucky were getting into an argument in what I think it was Compton or something. And the police the police showed up and started asking Bucky, is this guy bothering you? Again, this is one of the founding members of not founding, but one of the members of the Avengers. He had saved the planet a lot. So he will be super famous. So that scene made no sense other than the sense that they was trying to push a point that in the world that these characters exist in is retarded. Sorry, probably shouldn't say that, but is not realistic in the world that they created. So I don't know. I guess it was Captain America 4 was lucky enough to wrap production at the end of June. Okay, so at least they finished it. So depending on how much post-production they need, then that may be able to come out next year. Craven the Hunter. Saw the trailer for it. It looks a little goofy. I don't know how you have Craven the Hunter without Spider-Man. It's like one of the best Spider-Man stories. And if you wanted to introduce him, you could have introduced him in that. Well, it's looking like I'm gonna be doing this on my own. Okay. So that's how it is. Guess it will be a short episode today then. Well, anyway, it's like Craven the Hunter. Yeah, that story was actually if done right, could be an excellent movie. So but it's done and Spider-Man villain to keep him company. Rhino, Calypso, and the Chameleon, and Russell Crowe will appear as Craven's father. The Rhino, well, the only version of the Rhino that we've seen is the mechanical one. So that was kind of, I don't know. This is probably not going to be that great, but who knows? All right. And the last but not least is the Thunderbolts. All right. I read I've heard of the Thunderbolts. I can pretty much guarantee that most of your normal people would have never heard of the Thunderbolts. So they would have almost zero incentive to see this movie because to this is the guy that the government gave the shield to replace Steve Rogers when Steve Rogers disappeared. All right. So most people won't know who this is. This is the replacement for the Black Widow. So if you saw the movie, then you would know who this is. And if you saw, was it if you saw Hawkeye, yeah, there it is. She's in Hawkeye. So if you didn't see Hawkeye, you wouldn't know who this is. This is Bucky. So at least people will know who he is. I'm not sure if if enough people would care enough to watch this. I don't know. And this is the Russian version of Captain America. So he has all the same powers and all that stuff. He just chubby. But you would have had to have seen the Black Widow movie to know who this is. So if you didn't, all right. So the Thunder, yeah, like I said, the Thunderbolts appeared set to serve as the pseudo sequel to Black Widow, bringing Black Florence Pugh's Yelena, Julia Louise Valentina, David Harbour as Red Guardian, along with the Taskmaster, Winter Soldier, and U.S. Agent. Yeah, and Ghost. So these are like tertiary characters that most people would not have heard of. You could have, if you would have did a Winter Soldier movie, that would have been great. Hell, if you would have actually did a decent Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you could have did that as a movie. Come up with a nice, idea of what they can do together. And then like because they're both friends of Steve and they're both going through the grief of him not technically being around, even though he's like an old man. So he's no longer in the game. So you can kind of do I guess this is what I thought that what the TV show was gonna be about, which it wasn't. It's like a buddy cop thing. So that could have been great. Right. Anthony Mackie's pretty funny. And I forgot the guy's name, but he's pretty funny too. So it would have been actually it could have been a good movie. All right. All right. Out of the 6 Marvel list, Thunderbolts is the only one yet to get a front of the camera. So they ain't filming this yet. So this is definitely not coming out next year. Yeah. So I don't know. All right. If I don't know for Marvel. Marvel has been kind of interesting. Started out really good, and then Kevin Feige basically got rid of everybody who cared about um, any of the comics and continuity and all that stuff. Oh, excuse me. And he's been virtual signaling to death. So, all right. And they also talk about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is basically the second part of the second Spider-Verse into the Beyond the Spider-Verse thing. I thought that they just split the movie in half and just was going to put out this one and it was going to put out the second one in the next year. But apparently they're not even finished working on it. So there's almost no chance that this movie is coming out next year, which is tragic because the way that it ended, it's like how many people actually care if this doesn't come out for a while? So I don't know. All right. Basically all the stuff that I kind of wanted to talk about were things that I wanted to do kind of a group discussion, and as on my own, it's like I don't know how interesting that would be for me to talk about it. So I think I'm gonna look at one more because one of the ones I really wanted to talk about was this artificial intelligence stuff. People are a little freaked out about that. All right, let me share this. So I'll get my 2 cents on this. All right. All right. Share this right here. All right. Yeah, I really wanted to get more than just my own opinion on this, but it is what it is. All right. How AI will augment human creativity in film production. Now, I've heard this particular argument about how it would just be more like a help thing, where you still need to have the creativity, because the whole thing about AI is that it essentially just cobbles together like other people's stuff. So what it does is, like, as far as what the way the AI works is, you put in like what you're looking for. Say you're looking for Garfield the cat on a Harley, smoking a hookah or whatever. So what the program will do is take a picture of Garfield, take a picture of a Harley, and then take a picture of a hookah pipe or whatever, like someone smoking it or whatever. And it combines it into one. It hasn't created anything. It's just taking the image that it takes one image that somebody else has done, takes another image that somebody else has done, and takes a third image that somebody else has done, and cobbles it together to create a new image. But it's not a new image. It is other people's work that it is putting together into one thing. Now, if you take that in the abstract, then that's pretty much what anybody who creates something does. And yeah, it's like, so you can kind of see it like that a bit, but the problem with that is you won't get any innovation, because if you got 10 people and 8 people just kind of take the stuff that they've learned over the years and use that and cobble it together to make something that seems new, but it's not really new, but it's just a basis of a lot of other stuff. You're gonna have one or two, like two people who actually are innovative and they create a new thing, and then that pushes everything forward. But if you have like programs and whatnot that actually don't create anything new, it just cobbles together stuff that's old. So it's like you're gonna kind of, that's when society kind of plateaus and you don't really get any new things. We're kind of in this now where, like with music, they figured out, like a handful of producers kind of figured out that if we put this chord and this thing together, people find that very pleasant. All right. So they use the same formula in lots and lots and lots of things. Right. So that's why when you just turn on the radio, everything sounds kind of the same, kind of samey. That's why. It's because it's the same chords, same chord progressions for the most part. And a chord progression is how you put the chords together. So it's like a C chord, A chord, yada yada yada. And you just go C, A, C, C, like this. And then you can change the instrument up to make it to fill it out to make it sound better. But essentially it's the same C chord, A chord, C chord, boom, like that. So it's like, all right, so every story needs a villain. For decades, artificial intelligence has been presented as a mysterious, powerful antagonist in Hollywood. Al, the robot that went kind of nuts in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Ava, I didn't really watch that movie. And Ultron in the Avengers are all part of a broader narrative that paints AI as a personification of technology's threat to humankind. With the arrival generative AI, that threat has careened off the screen into the negotiations. The negotiating table between multiple creative guilds and the producers, which is basically, all right, a large chunk of a large reason why the actors and the producers and all that people on strike. And I'm quite sure they're going to touch on this in this particular article, because what they're afraid of is that some studio exec is going to have an idea about a movie. He's gonna say, I want to see this, I want to see giant crabs, I want to see like action stars and set in the western and blah 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 blah. So he's going to put this into the program, and it's going to spit out a convoluted thing that, for the most part, makes sense. It will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Guess what you need to have a story? You need a beginning, that's how your story starts, how your antagonist, introduction of your antagonist, your protagonist, all that stuff, and have them have an adventure, fix a problem, yada yada yada. And you need to have it in where they solve the problem. That's when your protagonist solves whatever the issue that the protagonist did. Protagonist could be anything. I remember correctly, it's 6 different. It's like nature, humans. It could be anything. But it'll be an okay script. So once they have it, then they can have somebody else who will come in to flush it out and actually make it a finished product. So it will cut down on some of the people who can actually make a living doing this at, like, in Hollywood, right? And I think that's what they're really afraid of, because, to be honest, a lot of the stuff that they're making nowadays is kind of crap. Like, really sucks. And to be honest, the program probably can't do any worse. It reminds me of, I used to work in the construction, right? So when you building a new place and you're putting in you're putting in jacks for power, all right? So say you're an electrician. The way it used to work is you would have an intern, like, I forgot what they call it in their field, but you have like a entry level person would come in and they would do the grunt work. And that's basically what you would do, is you would cut a hole in the wall, right? You put the box in, you run the wires to a certain point, and that's it. You wouldn't do anything else, all right? Because the wires would already be fed into the wall, and you would just cut a hole and you would stick it through like a little hole you cut on the side of the thing. So they would go through each apartment, say it's like an apartment building. They would go through each apartment building, and that's what they would do all day. They would just cut a hole, boom, shove this stuff in there, thing, put the thing on, move on to the next one, blah, 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 blah. But part of the reason for that is you learn about the grunt work. And then when the electrician comes, he will show you over time how to connect the wires and all that stuff. So you will learn how to be an electrician, right? I'm just kind of paraphrasing. Like, I didn't really go through the whole thing, but that's kind of how it works. So what they started doing was, because of unions and all that stuff, that particular person had to be paid a fairly decent wage, all right? So to get their bidding, like, because of when you bid for a contract, the person who bids the lowest is the one who usually gets the job. So in order to hit that number, what they started doing was getting other people who they weren't going to train how to do the next level, right? So you just get a bunch of those folks, pay them the bare, as little as you could possibly pay them legally, and they would just go in and do the grunt work, just cut the hole, blah blah blah. And so the electrician would come in after they're finished, and he'd be upset because it'd be wrong, and this thing is wrong, and that hole is crooked. It didn't matter, because he would just fix it, and he can fix the amount of mistakes that they make will be nowhere near as much as it was to just him to do it himself. So basically, you would have the electrician who would be there for around the same amount of time, and you don't have to pay the little intern part. So you wouldn't have to pay them, right? So this is essentially, I think, what's the issue is like, you would get rid of a lot of that grunt work stuff as you cranking out a story. It's like this person coming out with a story, that other person come out with a story, blah 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 blah. So you wouldn't necessarily need as many writers, because you would just have your main writer and the showrunner or whoever who would just clean up whatever the AI did. So that would get rid of a lot of jobs. So I think that's part of the issue. All right. So yeah, major sticking point, yada yada yada. AI is just one point of contention in negotiation, right? But in the eyes of the guilds, it has the potential to create an extinction level event in their craft. as I said. And that's essentially what happened, like in terms of the story I just said about construction. It's like that got rid of a lot of jobs. Okay. So, and it can only get better. So right now it's in this baby, not necessarily baby stage. I guess more like toddler. So we're at the beginning part of this. So 10 years from now, yeah, it'll probably be able to crank out like fairly detailed and fairly decent stories, because what they will probably do is they would feed it a bunch of scripts that work and how it works and all that stuff, and it would read all that and it would cherry pick like the best parts and be able to piece it into another story. So like I said before, you won't get anything new. It'll just be like a collection of old stuff that will come across as new without actually being new. It will be terrible for creativity. But I guess if you pay money, you don't really care, right? As long as people come out and see these things, they don't care. All right. Okay. Advances in the generative capabilities of AI have produced I don't know what the hell that is. Cambrian like explosion of possibilities for the application of AI across all industries. But generative AI has special pertinence for Hollywood. For Hollywood. Generative AI has seismically shifted the way we look at content creation, escalating tensions about AI powered production, becoming more of a reality with the potential to track human creativity. As I was saying before, it doesn't create anything. It's just a hodgepodge of stuff, right? From the film industry, protecting human creativity and the art of filmmaking in turn is of paramount importance as the world collectively evaluates this technological paradigm shift. It is about how much the people who are providing the money care. That's what you got to worry about, right? Because typically, a lot of these people are not creative people. They're like business guys. It's about the money. So if they can make the widget and they can sell the widget and put the widget on the screen and everybody goes out and sees the widget, that's all they care about. And by the time Hollywood kind of dies, they'll be old and they won't care. It's about how much money they can make now. All right. Augmented intelligence from an existential threat to essential tools. We believe that the next paradigm of technological and evolution will be defined by augmented intelligence, meaning companies that leverage software machines to enhance the work, expertise, and experience of a human user or worker. Lifting this veil reveals the narrative around AI in Hollywood should shift away from seeing AI as a threat and rather towards a new set of tools that can augment the capabilities of every filmmaker across the globe. Yeah, I saw someone talking about this, and it was like the stuff that's in like Photoshop and stuff like that allows you to do stuff that it would take you a lot longer to do before, because you would have to do again, like I said before, the grunt work. So this will do the grunt work. So I don't know. It depends on how it can go. Yeah, I think it can go either way, and I don't think anybody truly knows how it's going to go. You know, so all right. Despite the wave of recent concerns and negative media, we believe the AI will propel the film industry forward by giving more aspiring filmmakers access to previously unattainable tools, thus unlocking human creativity to a previously unimaginable levels. All right. Um, that sounds nice in theory, but I don't know. Yeah, the way all right, if I go back to music, all right, the way music like production kind of worked before was you kind of needed someone with money, because the equipment costs a lot of money. All right. So 5,000 on a keyboard. And this was like back in the day when I was younger. It's like back in the 90s, early 2000s. Like you spend 5 grand on a keyboard, that's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of money now, but that was really a lot of money then. So you kind of needed someone who had money, and then you had to have enough talent so that they would invest in you. Now, you can get a music program on like an iPad. It costs you like $20. Like some of them are like $9, and you can make music with that. So now everybody who ever wanted to be a producer can be a producer, and everybody who wanted to be a rapper can be a rapper. That didn't actually make better musicians and better um better producers, because you got a lot of people who, like I said before, you can have 10 people, 8 people will be copying, and then you have like a handful of people who are innovative. And when you throw that many people out there who are just copying and aren't really that innovative, a lot of times it will drown out the people who are, because when you lower the threshold to get into this, what you did was you got rid of the gatekeepers, right? So yeah, it's just like if you look at books like novels and music and a lot of stuff, because they got rid of the gatekeepers, it's a lot of trash. It's just a lot of this fluff. It's just is and it's hard to find good stuff. When you do find some good stuff, that's awesome. But it's a lot. It's a lot. So this kind of sounds like a hope for the best kind of thing, because it's like I don't know. So while the focal issues on the strikes is script generation and more robust generative blah blah blah, Loon, the first wave of AI adoption in Hollywood will be most strongly felt in video editing and post production, where AI tools come in to assist human productivity. Again, if you you still have to have creative people to do this stuff, and then like you get people who are trying to make more money, and they just get a bunch of people to just throw stuff together who can operate the machines, and the machine will basically make something that's decent, but it's not anything that's gonna make you remember it, right? It's like think about movies that you saw when you was a child that you still remember. It's like you're gonna get less and less of that. So uh, today filmmakers can use AI solutions in video editing to drastically reduce production times and decrease the budget needed to fulfill their creative visions. Sounds good. Films that previously needed massive budgets can now use novel technologies powered by large foundation models to broaden their creative faculties for multiple facets of their process, from storyboarding to visual effects to CGI and post production editing. Again, all this sounds really good. It's just I saw this kind of thing, like I said, in music. It did not help music by lowering the threshold. It didn't. So you're gonna get a lot more people who are, the when you watch, sorry, when you watch American Idol, when they just put that collection of people who come out and they really can't sing that well, but it was their dream to be a singer, and they're sitting there and they're arguing with the people who are professionals and telling them that they just don't know what they're talking about. I kind of see how is gonna go. So, like, I don't know. This article seems to be like a lot of wishful thinking kind of thing. I don't know. I have no idea how this is gonna go. Could be good. Hopefully, it's good, because getting rid of some of the stuff will lower the cost of some of these movies, and hopefully, it will allow them to be a bit more creative, because they can take more chances, because they can also do stuff quicker, kind of thing. But I don't know. So that's enough of that article. All right. Well, I was kind of hoping, someone else will show up, but it is what it is. So, all right. Like and subscribe. All right. I didn't get anybody watching, so yeah. So if anybody sees this video, like and subscribe. All right. Peace.